Coming up this week on the Course of Life podcast, it's the full recap of my loaded week at Austin Country Club for the WGC Dell Match Play Championship, where we had some epic Ryder Cup previews, potentially. Plus, what we're tuned into this week, we're talking new music from some old friends, and we're just feeling old in general with the things that we're hearing these days. Plus, this week's guest is a really funny one. Jade Catta-Preta, you know her from sitcoms like Modern Family and American Housewife, and her stand-up comedy. Is also the host of The Soup on E! Great conversation. Definitely one of our funniest guests here on the podcast. And we finish with some March Madness and baseball talk and a little Easter food chatter when we #AlwaysEndWithFood. All of it brought to you by our friends at FlightScope. It's that portable little unit that I talk about all the time, and it helps my game a bunch. Whenever I practice and work on my golf game in the backyard, the FlightScope Mevo is there for me. It's an easy device that tells me exactly how far I'm hitting the ball. It tells me the data that I need to know going into each round, whether I'm playing in 30 degrees or 100 degrees or it's windy or not. I get an idea of how far I'm hitting the ball, and that's important to me. It's definitely important to you out there. So if it is, use promo code COL10 for 10% off your Mevo unit. Bubba Watson uses it. Bryson uses it as well. I love it in my backyard, and it could be yours today. Promo code COL10 for 10% off of your Mevo unit from FlightScope Golf.
Interwebs, and welcome to Course of Life, part of the Morning Read Podcast Network. We are proud to be presented by our friends at Desert Fox Golf, Groove It Golf, and Tosi Snacks. I'm Michael. He's Alex. And Alex, you were pretty busy this past week down there in Austin, Texas, at the Dell Match Play, a WGC event. And I'm gonna silence the haters right now. Match play golf is real golf. I don't care what you say.
Oh, please, yeah.
They're still hitting a little white ball and trying to get it in the hole. It's still real golf.
It was. And it was a birdie fest because they play this very match play friendly course in Austin Country Club, which is a little bit different. It's one of those courses you definitely couldn't set it up for an actual PGA Tour event because it's just not long enough. There's drivable par fours, there's short par threes, so it makes for the ultimate match play venue. And there was just fireworks all week. It was a great weather week all week out there, and I couldn't have been more pleased with not only the turnout but how well run the event was, and it's great to have live spectator sports back in front of my face.
That's right. There were fans out on the course. We saw them both on TV and on some of the videos you posted from your week on the course. Let's go right to the finish to start off with here. It was came down to two Americans, Billy Horschel and Scottie Scheffler. What'd you think of the finish there with Horschel winning 2-1, 1.8
It was an impressive.
million.
It was an impressive victory for Billy. This is a guy who he just, he's a lurker that's been on the tour forever, and he's there for consistent finishes, but he doesn't win a lot. The kick on him is he won the FedEx Cup about a decade ago, and you really haven't heard much from him since, especially on big stages. So this is a big moment for him, especially going against Scottie Scheffler, Mike, who's a UT Longhorn alum. So he had the whole crowd on his side. It wasn't quite Jordan Spieth level like fandom, but definitely a biased crowd towards Scheffler. So he was playing like as the road team in that championship match, and he was pretty unflappable the whole time. Just didn't give Scheffler a lot of wiggle room, and that's how he got the victory.
And I think it's also interesting to note that the final day had no one within the top 25 in the world playing. In fact, we only had one player in the top 5 playing the weekend.
Yeah, it was. I think it was John Rahm too. It was the only one, and that just speaks to how unpredictable it is. And the gap between number 1 and number 64 in the world, Mike, is not that big.
It's really not.
It might be a namesake in terms of people may not know Dylan Fratelli by name versus Rory McIlroy or Justin Thomas or Dustin Johnson. But Dylan Fratelli proved that he can sweep matches Wednesday through Friday and advance to the weekend. So these guys are all world talents and across the world showcase with guys from the Asian Tour, European Tour, et cetera, converging on Austin. And you're right. It was nice to see some new names there, but yeah, definitely unpredictability and not your traditional bracket setting where the high seeds advance.
So you were stationed on hole 6 all week as a volunteer marshal there. What were some of your highlights? What did you think was some of the best things that you got to do during the week?
Oh man, well, so the interaction wise, got to say hi to a past guest and Teo Gomez. He was with Sebastian Munoz on the bag. They unfortunately didn't have a great week, make it to the weekend, but it was good to see them out there. Random celebrity sightings include obviously Ben Crenshaw and Tom Kite. That's just a given. Saw Michael Dell walking through the crowd. You thought he was anonymous without a mask on. When Michael Dell has a mask on, nobody knows who he is at all. He was the only billionaire walking around, but it was good to see him.
Did you ask him for a laptop?
Yeah, I asked him for a few accessories as well. My dock mic, it's not working great here. I need a replacement, you know? Yeah. But saw Baker Mayfield and Myles Garrett hop into a VIP area, a couple Cleveland Browns. I know Baker Mayfield's from the Austin area, friends with Jordan Spieth as well, too. So it was good to see some random people out there. And like you said, the 6th hole, it was a par 5. So all sorts of random moments throughout the course all week, both at the 6th and across the tournament. It's neat being at the tournament all week, Mike, because you hear about some of these like through hearsay moments after they happen, but you also have to have the opportunity to be in front of some of them as well.
That's true. We had, of course, the Terrell Hatton club throw with a whole. I don't think I've ever seen a club wiggle that much.
Yes. Thank you for getting that on COL Podcast on Instagram. That's our official show Instagram, where you can check out the insane wiggle on this club throw. This is next level stuff. And I don't ever think I've seen a golf club quite jiggle like I did. So shout out to Terrell Hatton.
It looked like it was made of Jell-O. It did.
Yes. Well, another unbelievable thing I have to shout out, which I did see on the 6th hole, was our champion, Billy Horschel, playing the 6th. This is a Sunday morning match. The semifinal just had a complete shank hitting down the hill to the par 5. I was stationed behind the green, watched it all hitting from the top of the hill. He had like a long iron and just did not commit to the swing. And it was literally a line drive, hooking, almost went out of bounds shank. It was unprecedented. To see it in real life from a professional golfer, it was truly like a hand over your mouth, just gasping moment.
We also had a hole-in-one to end a round from Sergio to seal the win in a playoff. You got reaction of his family as well during that. That was pretty epic.
That was the 4th playoff hole on Friday because Sergio and Westwood had to go to a playoff within their group. You posted their swings on the Instagram as well, too, so people check those out. It was cool to see them go head-to-head. And yet, so what happened was Westwood hit his tee shot on the 4th, Mike, and the 4th is one of those blind par 3s, where as a fan, you can walk the cart path and get near the green, but you can only see the top of the flagstick, and you really can't see what's happening on the green unless you're there as a volunteer. So I'm walking down the 4th hole as Sergio's ball is in flight, and I walk right by his wife and dad and the whole family that's there. And all of a sudden they just start screaming and going nuts. And that's when everyone realized this was in. It was a walk-off ace. So he went nuts, and a really cool ending that Friday playoff to be there. I can't say that I literally saw the hole-in-one, Mike, but I was as close as you could be without seeing it to actually experience the moment.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Let's also talk a little bit about DJ and Kevin Na, because this was a pretty interesting moment that happened out there where DJ decided to scoop up his putt before Kevin Na told him it was good.
Every year, Mike, this happens. Every year we get this.
And Kevin Na went up to him and was like, "Hey, man, you can't do that. I mean, I was going to say it was good, but you can't do that." And that seemed to then just break down DJ, and he just played horribly the rest of the round.
He did. You're right. I'm wondering if that did break DJ, because Na dominated him after that moment. Yeah. It happened at the par 3 11th. So he had 7 holes to catch him after that and beat him. But yeah, this happens every year. We talked about this with Kuchar and Sergio a couple of years back. And it's the, how fast you give a putt. And do we just call tap-ins inside of a foot? Are those just always good? No, but I appreciate Kevin Na for saying, "Hey, listen, DJ, I'm not gonna make you give me the hole. I could make you give me the hole, but I'm just gonna let you know that this is how you should conduct yourself in the future." I appreciate kind of that response instead of like the tenuous bickering back and forth between Kuchar and Sergio and the way that erupted. It seems slightly more professional from Kevin Na.
It did, and is that I mean, was this Kevin Na trying to also say, like, you should put me on the Ryder Cup team because, look, I know how to play right. You shouldn't put DJ on there because he doesn't know how to do it right, and he's going to cost the American team the win.
This is what happens, Mike. You think just like me all week. I'm just standing there watching these guys, and I'm watching these American and European players, and I'm swinging and I'm watching them hit up close. I'm just picturing them on the Ryder Cup, like in red, white, and blue. It's like I thought Billy Horschel was channeling like a little Ryder Cup preview with his red and blue on Sunday. Mm-hmm. I think there were lots of people sending subliminal messages to Captain Stricker this week. I saw a lot of that. And I was wondering if Kevin Na was part of that too. And is maybe Scotty Scheffler part of that Ryder Cup fold as well too? A young, popular American that seemed very unflattered by the moment in match play. It's fun. This is that official time of year. It's spring, Ryder Cups in fall, but you kind of get the juices flowing when you see match play for what these guys could look like on the Ryder Cup.
I mean, really, to me, what this says is that there needs to be more match play tournaments during the course of the year. They can go to courses that aren't as long because it doesn't matter as much, and they can get into places they don't normally go to and just have more fun during the year.
I agree. And we talk about tournament and format expansion with what they did with the Zurich Classic and turning that into 2-man teams. They could add a second match play event, and it could just be like they could just put it in place of another like lower tier PGA Tour event that kind of needs the boost or needs the help from a rating perspective, and just turn, say, name your tournament, the John Deere Classic, into a match play, once every few years or once a year. Like that could definitely attract a new breed of golfers.
It would be pretty awesome. And so Billy Horschel won that WGC Dell Technologies Match play in Austin. And being an invitation event, that means there was another one going on. This one, the Corales Puntacana Resort and Club Championship in the Dominican Republic. Little itty bitty purse by comparison, but
oh yes, compared to the Millionaires Gala, as I affectionately refer to it.
But you know what? $500,000 is still a good winnings for coming in first here.
Oh yeah, it is, and there's so many stories. I have now a little like kind of friendly rivalry with our friend Ryan French, who runs the Monday Qualifier Info account, because he kind of snouts at these and snuffs at these World Golf Championships because he's about the real grinder tournaments. The opposite field events and the guys with opportunities, the Monday Qualifiers, the mini tour. So, he doesn't like it the way I promote this event. So we have a fun little friendly, rivalry about that. But it's okay. I'm going to show love to Corales because we had an awesome story develop with Joel Dahmen. This is a guy who's been on tour for a handful of years, also had a lot of medical issues, even a cancer survivor in his own right, and now a PGA Tour winner. He finally got his first win at Punta Cana. So, like I said, for all the guys that are in the WGC and living at large at the match play, there's great stories that emerge from opposite of field events like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's golf. Any golf is good golf. It doesn't matter where it is. And
especially Paradise.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of makes it nice to watch. So
yeah, indeed.
Also going on in the world of golf, this coming weekend is the LPGA's ANA Inspiration, the 50th anniversary. It is their first major of the year.
Love that.
So there's some really good golf that's going to be going on this weekend.
Yeah. I like the Americans so far this year. We talked about how this was the Quarter Tour.
Quarter Sisters, yep.
So I'll throw $1 on one of the sisters. Danielle Kang's been playing well. Inbee Park just won this past week, so she's always a dominant force. She won the gold medal in the Olympics as we're getting towards that time frame when we're picking those teams as well too. So yeah, I love the first LPGA major of the year. This is a course they've been playing out in California for a while now, and a great kind of risk reward par 5 to finish. And always got to shout out the winner of this tournament every week. My favorite part, Mike, is they take the dive into Poppy's Lake. The winner and their caddy, and usually their family too, they just jump into the water hazard after they win. A great tradition in golf.
And sure will be happening again this week. We'll see. You'll do it. We'll let you know on the podcast next week.
Yes.
We'll also let you know who wins this weekend's Texas Open in San Antonio. Are we still the Valero Texas Open? I think I feel like it keeps changing names.
I mean, Mike, Valero, it's a gas case company. You think that sponsor's going away anytime soon?
I mean, you never know.
Welcome to Texas, and Jordan Spieth in the field, and DJ and Phil too. A few guys that may not normally get in Masters prep like this the week before in the field at San Antonio. Your thoughts on those guys playing the week before Augusta?
You know, I think I hate to say it. I think Phil's career of winning PGA Tour events is over.
Oh no!
I think it is.
Just a goodbye, huh?
I mean, do you have anything to tell me otherwise? He should go to the Champions Tour and he should start raking in the dough because he can win there. And then if he really wants, I don't think he will. He could just jump ship and go start calling stuff on CBS or whatever. You know.
Right, I know he could just win 10 times a year on the Champions Tour.
I know.
you win the Senior PGA, you get into the regular PGA. You win the Senior Open, you get into the regular Open. I mean, so he could play all the majors if he wants to. So that's just a theory there, Phil. But he's going to give it a grind, getting ready for Augusta. Thinks he's got one more run in a green jacket. Again, we're back in that season where it's 2 green jackets here in about 5.5 months' time. So awesome. Very exciting to see that we're a week before a major. Looking forward to the action in San Antonio. Again, this is one of those stories where you could get a top name like a Spieth, DJ, or Phil. But Corey Connors was a Monday qualifier here a few years back and went Monday to Sunday and got his first career PGA Tour win. So anything can happen at TPC. It's a fun venue. Looking forward to the action. And my full card will be at Course of Life 1 on Twitter to see who's going to win this week.
And I'll throw a couple names up there. I think I need to start sending you more money. I have a feeling like I've blown through my first amount to you. So I don't want my kneecaps broken by you. I know you're my bookie.
You have, but just in time for the Masters, Mike. We'll get into some weird Masters prop bets next week as well too. So look forward to that next week's episode.
Are we doing a Masters food package? By the way, it's $150. That's like, oh my god.
Yeah, I looked at that. I think I'm just gonna do it on my own. I actually saw a funny Dustin Johnson video where he, like, in his typical mundane dry tone, he actually just like made pimento cheese and just like slathered it on some bread. And it was a great video. If you haven't seen it already, I'd be sure to tune into that. It inspired me to think, like, I think I could just make these pimento cheese sandwiches myself.
I have a feeling that a cooking video with Dustin Johnson would just put me to sleep. Any video with Dustin Johnson would put me to sleep because he's just
it was only about a minute and a half, Mike, so you don't need too much attention.
And at the end, he would take a bite of it and be like, yeah, it's
he did. He just took a massive man-sized bite and was like,
it tastes like a pimento cheese sandwich.
So I'm going to do that's a DIY for me next week.
I'm looking forward to it. Maybe you'll taste it. You'll have to do it on the podcast. We'll have to do a live sandwich making on the podcast.
Like it.
Let's switch over to Tuned In, where we share what we're tuning into outside of the world of sports. We're a little music heavy this week, Alex, and let's just get this out of the way. We're officially old. We've hit the point in our lives where we are now the target audience for the music being played in stores.
Oh, no. Wait, did you have an in-store music experience?
I was in Target today, and they were playing In Sync. Bye, bye, bye.
Oh, God, which is just a seminal song of our childhood, too.
I thought about for a split second whipping the phone out and recording it, but it would have been, that's too, I'm too old for that.
Yes, that's actually the lame content I'm here for. And I think there's a lot of people actually out there that would appreciate that. But probably. I agree with you that at our age, it does for me feel tremendously embarrassing to be taking your phone out in a store to record that moment. If you really think about it from that perspective. So I feel you on that one.
What you got?
I mean, yeah, it's this music that's making us feel really old. My all-time favorite band is coming back with some new music this Friday, and that's Lifehouse.
They're still together?
Yeah, late 90s Pop 2K, early alternative rock band, Hanging by a Moment, You and Me with My Wedding Song, and they've been making some jams for a long time. They go on hiatus like every 3 to 5 years, I feel like, but they're back officially. They've got new music dropping this Friday, so that officially made me feel old, to go back to my older days. And then also make me feel is the fact that Justin Bieber is just making like really grown up, like adult music these days. I've been playing it all week on my Instagram, and you'll see it on my posts at Course of Life Alex on Instagram. But just Justin Bieber, grown up music videos. Guy's married. He's straightening his life out. He's making grown man music. And yes, it's just all these further signs that we're just aging tremendously fast.
I mean, I also heard that Effervescence is putting out a new album.
Oh, yes. Bring Me to Life there. Evanescence. Yes.
Yeah, Evanescence. There we go. Yeah.
Well, I love that. I love the sync between Effervescence and Evanescence too. That's how we're really showing our age.
You know, I never got it right back in the day there. So,
so yeah, Tuned In officially world. That's the theme of this week's Tuned In.
Let's get into this week's guest, Alex. Let's go ahead and say it, because we've never been able to say this before. We've never been able to say that a guest we have coming on is a comedian. And this week, we actually have a stand-up comic on the podcast.
Very cool. Yeah, I love Jade Catta-Preta, this week's guest coming up here. I've seen her on a bunch of different things. If you've seen the video game brought to life series Future Man, we talk about that. She's had roles on Modern Family, American Housewife, and host of The Soup on E! Network. A great show previously hosted by Joel McHale as well, too.
That's where I thought he did that.
Filled in the wings for him very nicely, and Jade's just hilarious. It was great having her on. She's got a podcast of her own that she promotes, and love the conversation from start to finish.
We'll get into that interview with Jade in just a moment. But first, as always, this interview is brought to you by Desert Fox Golf, our friends of the show and the makers of the Phone Caddy. The Desert Fox team is based in Arizona, so they know golf, and the Phone Caddy is crafted by both golfers and engineers. The Phone Caddy is unique because it mounts right onto your golf cart in seconds in a place where you can actually see and use your phone. So you can keep your yardage and scoring apps at your fingertips, change music, answer calls and texts, and more, all with the Phone Caddy from Desert Fox. It's the most functional way to keep your phone safe and ready on the course at all times. The Phone Caddy works seamlessly with almost any phone model and quickly becomes the talk of your foursome. And for our listeners, you can save 10% off your purchase of a Phone Caddy with the promo code Course of Life. It comes in a range of colors, and you can even show your support with their patriotic line. So head on over to desertfoxgolf.com to get your Phone Caddy, and don't forget to use the promo code Course of Life to save 10%. Again, that's promo code Course of Life at desertfoxgolf.com.
Next up, joining us from LA, she's the badass host of one of the best clip shows on cable, my favorite, Talk Soup, aka The Soup on E! Network. It's comic and actress Jade Catta-Preta joining the Course of Life. Jade, how you doing today?
Hey, pow, 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 pow. Thank you for that intro. That's so sweet. I'm doing good. Staying alive.
Indeed, yeah. So I know you're doing a lot of both right now in terms of your work as a stand-up. We're getting back into that as well, too. And you've been in a lot of roles recently on the small and big screen, too. I'm curious, where did it all start for you, though, growing up in Brazil? Was it always, I wanted to be on stage telling jokes, or was it, I just wanted to be on the screen acting? Where did it all begin for you?
Oh man, I started off, I really wanted to be a dancer. My mom and dad put me in dance really, really early on. I make a joke. It's actually because I had scoliosis and they wanted me to like have a strong core, but I was like, they see something in me. So Broadway was definitely the beginning dream, was the first dream. I saw Rocky Horror Picture Show when I was like 7, and it made like a very intense impression on me. And I was like, I have to be doing that. So it all started at
like Broadway related break for you in like a play specifically, or did?
Yeah. Like my first play that I was in high school, and it was Damn Yankees was like my first leading role, you know, where she's like, whatever Lola wants. And I was just like, I bit the bug of theater, and it just, so theater was like my first love, which is interesting because I've kind of sort of slowly come all the way around, and I'm finally doing musical theater stuff on stage, and I'm releasing my stand-up special as a musical. So that's pretty exciting.
That is
have it come around.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when did the stand-up enter your life? Was there a moment when you got some funny lines in a play and you enjoyed?
And I was like, I was like, this is it. I'm good at this. No, you know, I went to Emerson for musical theater, which is like a really big performing arts college.
Yeah, I'm from the Boston area myself. That's a great school.
Yeah, thanks. I still owe them a lot of money. But there's a lot of stand-ups there. And I always thought it was like, why would they do this? And I was always like going to comedy shows and heckling because I was like frustrated. I felt like every joke was like about a dumb girl. And I was like, what about all the dumb men? But I got really into improv. And then I came out here and did like a came out to LA and did like one of those programs. It's like called an abroad program, even though Los Angeles is hardly abroad. But my very first job was hosting this thing at National Lampoon. When they were like really big on YouTube, I got this like hosting gig. And I met somebody there who brought me to the Comedy Store, this guy named Sandy Danto. And at the time I really was not into it. I was like, I would rather kill a baby than try this. But I did it and I was just totally hooked. Like, you kind of chase that dragon for the rest of time.
I love that. That's cool. And the Comedy Store where you host the Jade podcast now, correct?
Yeah. So that's a cool other like circle of life moment as well. So that's pretty exciting.
Nice. And so in terms of your perspective on the crowd, I love this little tidbit that you recently talked about in your podcast. For everyone to kind of peel back the curtain and go behind the scenes and stand up, I love kind of your perspective on how you view the crowd or something like that before an open mic or a show all day versus when you get up there and what they look like. Just talk about like kind of that like dichotomy for you.
Yeah, it's like a huge perspective shift. I mean, everything is so much bigger than we all think. And I think that's why people get so addicted to stand up, because I think that fear of speaking in public is like bigger than people's fear of like sharks or flying or anything. It's like the biggest fear that people have. But once you kind of do it, and even if you eat shit and you do really, really badly, you sort of survive it. And it's like sort of this weird trauma and you just want to get better at it. And it's such an exciting thing when you're up there and you see the way people are reacting. But it does, for me during the day, if I have a show, even now after 13 years, I still get that like that feeling of pressure and that like intensity and wanting to do good. And then that literally all disappears the second that I'm holding my mic and my POV is from the stage looking down versus, looking at the whole thing as its own picture. And it's cool to have that perspective shift. And, and there's nothing better than when you're in rhythm and you have them with every word and you can feel them kind of, the anticipation and there's going to be this big break of silence before they fall into laughter. And so that rhythm, that surfing the energy of other people with these really personal stories is like where I really am horny for stand up.
Love that. Let's talk about kind of rejuvenating the energy now, because things have obviously been a little bit quiet in terms of stand-up shows for you over the past year. But you mentioned how you're getting back out there now. As we're talking now, you're going to be playing shows in my state of Texas soon. What are your kind of vibes and your thoughts? I know you've got some kind of mixed emotions getting back out there and in front of crowds. Where do you sit right now as you get ready for these shows?
I'm scared because even though I've been like, doing little shows here and there, I'm still kind of working my, I'm getting my stage legs a little bit back. And, the rhythm is like, sometimes you think of something and my brain is way faster than my lips. And I just get caught up on really simple words. And like, I remember I'm an immigrant very quickly, but I'm also kind of like, I'm scared of COVID still a little. I'm half vaccinated, but
Same.
Texas, how Texas is. They're like, we don't care. So I'm scared of that a little. And I don't know. And I'm doing this new musical theater thing, which is a little bit scary. I'm really, really proud of it. And it's definitely something I want to do. But taking that leap from just doing stand up that's very boys club to like doing something that's a little more musical theater-y and like a little more feminine in that is making me a little nervous. Just scared of what's new,
I get that. I will say, to give you a little bit of comfort, I'm in the same spot as you with the vax. And though there's a lot of do not care in Texas, there's also a lot of vaccines getting pumped out here. So hopefully you have a pretty healthy and safe crowd there when you do play those shows.
That makes me feel good. That makes me feel relieved. Yeah.
Nice. I'm curious. I got to ask, because it's an inherent part of, stand up is like the crowd work and interaction with, people who are in the audience watching your show. Do you think that is going to change either for worse or for better, maybe like post COVID, or what are you kind of expecting in terms of like vibes and the energy you're getting back from the audience these days?
Oh, I think people are psyched to have it back. I mean, we need human connection. I feel like people are really excited. I saw some posts on Instagram a while ago that was like, it's going to be like the roaring 20s, where we go from wearing tie-dye pant sets to just like, we're actually dressing up and we don't take human connection for granted ever again. And so I'm looking forward to like just this whole new boom of stand-up happening. Even the shows that I've been going to lately here in LA, these outside shows, people just seem so excited to be there and they're just kind of happy to be out of the house. So I think, they'll take whatever. They're a little more open-minded, I think.
Very cool. Again, we're talking with Jade Catta-Preta, host of The Soup, and a lot of other things, which I want to touch on now, where you've definitely seen her. One project that was really cool that you'd previously been on was a video game brought to life show called Future Man. I know that Seth Rogen was part of the production crew on that show and whatnot. Just talk a little bit about the experience on that show. And did you have a lot of interaction with Seth at all during the course of the show? What was that like?
Seth was like never on set. The creator, he created it with somebody else. And so he was never really on set. And, but that was one of the best experiences in my life. I was a fan of the show. Like it kept, you know how you get recommended shows on Netflix or Hulu and you're like, I don't want to watch this.
Stop laying this on me.
I'm like, I don't want to watch the last Blockbuster. Stop. But that one kept coming up and I watched it and I was like, oh my God, this is so fucking funny. Just like, just the video game characters coming to life. It was just such a funny, weird thing. And when I booked it, I was shocked, because the audition was, it was like very broad. It was one of those things where it's like, I think the only thing I knew was like your character's family had been eaten by been eaten. That's all I knew. And I was like, so I made her like very bug-eyed and very scared all the time. And that's kind of all I went off of. And it was such a cool experience because I was in this weird orgy family and we all became super close. We met the first day we shot an orgy scene where we're all like half naked in a pile together.
Day one.
So day one, literally, I talked about on my podcast, we were just like, like my arm is on somebody's like crotch. And I'm like, so where are you from? So we became really, really close and it was just such a cool experience. The sets were like incredible. I mean, think about just like being in the underground set, like every little detail is made. The production design team and the creators of that show were just genius. And so it was cool. It was cool to be a part of it. And I wish that we really thought we were going to come back for the last season, but they didn't bring us back. We were like, no, but
very cool. I appreciate you recapping that experience. It looked like neat production, definitely. And you described the sets of how unreal they were. Some other funny shows where people have definitely seen your face. You've been featured on Two Broke Girls, Modern Family, but one sitcom I have to get to, which I've been hooked on recently, is American Housewife on ABC. You played Deborah, and I absolutely love the quick humor of the entire Otto family in that cast. Tell me what it's like on that set, working with the great team that you do, and especially the kid actors, because they
Daniel.
every time.
Yeah, it's so crazy because even I've shot it 3 times, and even since I've shot it, he's grown so much, like physically and mentally, and as an actor as well. And I think I have too. Like I watched the earlier episodes, even my voice is like a little lower. I wonder if that's just like I'm more confident now. My voice has finally dropped. My balls dropped.
Nice, congratulations!
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm finally getting pubes. It's really exciting. But that show was really awesome because, for so many of these, you have to audition a million times and it's painful and it hurts your confidence. And that one was offered to me because one of the producers was on Manhattan Love Story, which is a show I did many moons ago for ABC. So that was really cool. I felt very welcomed. And yeah, it's just, I only worked with Daniel. I'm friends with Ali and I know a few other people on the cast, but I only worked with him and we're always just in that weird little like hotline. And it's funny because the first time I went in, I like made some joke and he was like, that feels like you're maybe like flirting with the kid. And I was like, oh, I don't want that. And then slowly my character like maybe has a crush on him. Like she's always trying to like get his attention. And so, yeah, she's become a real weirdo and it's such a joy to play.
That's awesome to hear. Again, it's American Housewife on ABC. Be sure to check out those episodes on demand where Jade is featured. The show that I want to get to that I obviously know you the best from, which I watch religiously, is Talk Soup, aka The Soup on E! Network. I've had this show pretty much in my life since I can remember. In the 90s, I would watch as a kid and see my parents watching this strange show that compiled all sorts of news from pop culture and what was going on TV. And then we had the Joel McHale era. And now you've taken over and taken the reins as host of the show. What's kind of your background on the show and how does it, relate into, how you got this amazing role?
Well, I mean, same. I was the same as you. Like I moved to America in the 90s. I barely spoke English then. And TV was a big, proponent of me learning English. And The Soup was definitely one of my favorite shows. I didn't really understand all of it, but I was really, really into John Henson. And he had such a like goofiness and lightness to him that I just really admired him. And I work with him now. We do stand up together. And I worked with his wife on a project as well. But it was just such a cool, another, loop around the sun kind of moment when I got to be a part of it. I mean, just even during the test, I saw the logo behind me, like the one from Joel. Joel had the most successful run at it. And it was just such a like crazy moment of seeing it. And, just seeing where the world is, that finally like there's a female perspective on all this stuff. And I get to have a little bit of a different spin on it because, for so long it became a little bit of a boys club. And everything was like kind of making fun at the people. And I kind of wanted to make fun with the people because I'm a fan of all those shows. And so I just wanted to bring something a little bit different,
nice.
To it.
Let's get into all those shows. Essentially, what The Soup does for people who haven't seen it, it's a clip compilation show where Jade breaks down some of the most ridiculous and awesome moments that are out there in reality TV and everything going on the small screen. How do you guys tackle watching all the shows? I've heard you watch a lot of the shows. How far do you really sink your teeth in to try and find these clips for the show with the writing team?
Oh boy. Well, we had a very small staff. We had like 5 writers, and then we also have 5 researchers who are also very good writers. So we basically had like a team of 10 people. And we were on different schedules, like on different nights, people watch different things. And so we could cover all of it. And yeah, a lot of the stuff I watch myself, I'm not going to lie. E was very like into us, using NBC shows. So those were kind of always at the priority list. And then from then on, we would just, whatever made us laugh, that's what made it on the show. And it's tough because a lot of people don't know this when they watch TV shows. They're like, well, that sucks. That's not funny. It's like, well, it's gone through a lot of network notes before it's gotten printed. The original joke was super raunchy and funny, I swear. So it was like, a balancing act with getting it so that everybody was happy with it. But that was pretty much the process. And I actually met my boyfriend on the show because one of my best friends was a writer on the show, Justine Marino. She's awesome. She has a podcast called Glitter and Garbage. Check it out. But she ran into my office one day and was like, Jade, oh my God, you're going to want to make fun of him, but you're also going to want to fuck him. Watch this video. And I was like, oh my God, you're right. And I'm sorry. Can I say you're right on this show?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm cursing a lot. So I just wanted to make sure that was okay.
Now, what show was he on?
So this is very embarrassing, but he was on 2 reality shows. He had like very like short stints on both. He was on a show called Temptation Island, which I call the SCD of all reality shows. And then he was also on Peak of Love, which was like a return version of the same show. And he was on both shows for like a day each. And his opening on one of the shows was really cheesy. He was like, yeah, I'm a guy from Texas, so we made fun of him. And now it's going to be a year that we've been together. So that's a nice little funny, weird story from the Soup.
It's amazing how love falls in like that. Perfect.
It's true.
Let's get to some of the shows that you feature on the Soup. I'm a proud member of Bachelor Nation. Obviously, you guys talk a lot about the Bachelor, Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise, which I miss dearly.
Oh my God. Can they just bring that back? We all need that.
I'm like, I miss it. Just give me a Paradise and I'm fine. Like, I just thought,
they're becoming so watered down. Like this last season was so boring.
Yeah.
Well, I have one of my best friends is actually a producer on the show, and she just recently left. And it was funny because during the pandemic, she was working from home. She was in my bubble. So I would be at her house just hanging out while I could hear her interviewing guys on the phone. Like, so how far would you go for love? And just like seeing how she gets the guys to kind of get out there. And it was a really interesting perspective shift because I had never really seen behind the curtains like that. So she was casting the men for the female bachelorette, the last one. Who was it? What's her name? I forget. But I don't know what's going to happen, with all the stuff that's happened with Chris. And, I think they're taking a closer look at reality and how those shows portray different races and portray different people. And, the whole thing is a little bit abusive. I mean, like, I love reality shows. Because as much as people say that it's like lowbrow blue kind of a thing, I find it really more of a study of human behavior when under pressure.
Oh yeah, it's so.
And I find it exactly, yeah. And they isolate them. Like Cam, my boyfriend, when he was on one of the shows, he was on in a hotel room for like, I think 2 weeks, something ridiculous where he wasn't allowed to leave. And if he wanted to work out, he had to schedule a time while they watched him, and they take away their cell phones. And so they're so much more malleable when it comes to doing whatever, the producers ask them to do. And so it's interesting to see what happens in those situations. And I'm fascinated. I mean, they cannot make Real Housewives fast enough. if they follow those women like Big Brother style, I would watch it. I'm just like fascinated.
Yeah, I got to say that Salt Lake City season was something for me. I'm not even a regular on that show, but I popped in for that season and that was quite a ride. So.
I mean, Jen Stark has anger issues. She needs to get her shit together.
Amen to that. So Jade, you covered those shows and a couple others I wanted to feature that they definitely talk about in the soup. Some E-Network shows you love, obviously talking about the Kardashians who are going out on their final season.
Wow.
We've also had members of the Bradshaw bunch on this show. Both Noah and Lacey have been on the
nice.
too. What's it like kind of showcasing the different E-Network shows and hopefully soon maybe you can have them join the set as well too, right?
Wait, I'm so sorry. You're going to be so disappointed, but the soup is actually done.
Oh no, for goods.
For goods for right now, it is actually done. I think that, and I don't want to be the one to break it to you. I feel like it's happening to me all over again.
It's got to reincarnate in some form though, right? This can't be a full-on breakup.
We're really hoping.
Hard to believe,
no, we're really hoping. The thing is, COVID killed it. We try to keep it alive even during COVID. And one, it's very difficult to do jokes to silence. I mean, I'm used to it. I've eaten a lot of shit in my past years, but delivering written jokes that aren't necessarily always in my full language was really difficult. It was a bit uncomfortable, to be honest. And we tried our best to make it as lively. And, we even had guests during the pandemic, which was really crazy. We figured out how to do Zoom and we wanted it to be so much more of a universe where we bring in people from the other shows. And we just wanted it to grow to this thing. And unfortunately, the higher ups weren't, it didn't work out. And, so that's where we're at right now. It's such a bummer because, I feel like I didn't really get a chance to make it my own. And 6 episodes in, I feel like I was finally getting in my rhythm and finally figuring out my thing. And then, after COVID, it was really hard to find clips too, because not a lot of stuff was being made. Like almost every clip we showed was like Alaskan bush people, which by the way, I also
also a great show. A side note.
Love. Yeah. Side note. Jesus, that girl who just eats straight butter is like my spirit animal.
Yep. These are all the things that the world is missing. I feel a reincarnation at some point in some way.
Oh man, I hope so. And if they brought another host, I'll tell you right now, I'll go on a killing spree. I'll lose it. It better be me if it comes back.
Let's talk about Jaded at Jade's podcast on Instagram. You're at Jade Catta-Preta. Something I noticed is you are not a coffee drinker, which is shocking. You emit amazing coffee energy, but you're not drinking any coffee. What is it that you're actually drinking? I see it's like some sort of like tea combination drink that you use.
Yeah. So every episode I kind of highlight a different caffeinated beverage because I get very hyper. I mean, right now I'm drinking a black tea concentrate with lemon and honey.
Wow. That's elite.
Yeah, so I keep myself caffeinated throughout the day. Like if I could have tea on an IV, that's how I would have it. Just like a slow drip of caffeine all day. I burn out very quickly. I stopped drinking coffee a few years ago because I was having like crazy acidity issues. And it was like the one thing that was really killing me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, I went to regular caffeine and it's working out so far.
Nice. Cool. One other thing I wanted to touch on, since I am from Austin, South by Southwest is a huge deal here. It hasn't been quite the same as we'd like the last year or so because of everything going on in the world. But I saw that you did have something premiere there, which is badass. So I want you to highlight it to everyone that's listening.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I've always wanted to I've been to South by Southwest a million times, and I've always wanted to have a film there and get to celebrate and have some California burritos. And I was so excited. And then, of course, COVID, like everything else, it killed it. But I did a film with Brian Sacca, who's incredible. And it was called Joanne is Dead. And it was just a really weird little short film. And Barry Rothbart's also in it, who's amazing. He was in Wolf of Wall Street and a bunch of other stuff. And just a really weird, quirky short film with really, really cool people involved. And I think we screened in the short film. I forget what it was. It's like called Minis or something. It was like Midnight Minis or something.
Cool.
So
nice.
Yeah. If you guys have a chance, find it. Yeah.
That's like the heartbeat of the city. So I wanted you to shout that out. Shout out to South by Southwest, which will hopefully be back in its full terms by next year. Want to a couple of your favorites as well too. I know that people can see you starting out on the stand-up circuit a lot more. Where can they check for your upcoming shows and where they're looking to see you soon?
So I have a website that is fully updated with literally everything you ever need, Jade, on there. JadeCatta-Preta.com, JadeCatta-Preta. Yes, there's a hyphen in my name. Don't go crazy. So everything's up on there. I'm going to be in Houston this weekend. I don't know if this plays in real time, but it's the 26th through the 28th. And then I'll be doing Brian Redband's secret show in Austin on that Thursday, which I believe is the 31st. I should really know my dates.
Very exciting for our Austin audience. Yep. We'll be running this next week. Like it.
Oh, it's the first. Yeah, it's the first. So please come check it out. If you guys are in Austin and you haven't checked out my boys over at Kill Tony or Brian Redband, they're bringing over so much comedy from LA to Austin. So that's such a cool thing to see, because I feel like I had like 20 friends from Austin moved to LA 3 years ago, and now everybody's going back.
Yeah, I know there's the whole contingent with, Joe Rogan and all of them as well, too, hanging out down here doing shows. So yeah, it's a big movement indeed right now. One thing I want to do is we love to end all of our conversations in our episodes talking a little food. Let's talk about Brazilian food. Do you have a specific favorite or something from your family that you love making or haven't had in a while that you got a craving for?
Oh my God, I love beef stroganoff. That's something my mom used to make that I'm like, I crave it. And a lot of people don't know that there's a lot of German influence in Brazil, because after World War II, a lot of Nazis fled to Brazil, Jews too, but a lot of Nazis. And there's a lot of German influence in the food. I mean, it's a whole hodgepodge of mixtures, but I love beef stroganoff, anything with beef, really. I'll take it. But.
Awesome. Hey, Jade, thank you so much for joining the Course of Life. Appreciate it. Looking forward to your upcoming shows and everything that you're doing. And be sure to follow everyone on social. It's at Jade Catta-Preta and at Jade's podcast. And best of luck with everything.
Alex, thank you so much for having me, man. You're the best.
That interview with Jade Catta-Preta is brought to you by our friends at Groove It Golf, makers of the Groove It Golf brush. You've seen it on the bag of tour caddies and your favorite athletes and golf personalities on social media, and it's the brush to get for the 2021 golf season. This brush's patented pump sprays water or cleaning solution right onto the club face for you, making it quick and efficient to clean clubs or even your golf ball in seconds. The Groove It brush includes a detachable magnet, so you can bring the brush to the club head. And the Groove It brush comes with a 3-year bristle guarantee. That means if you can wear out the brush head cleaning hubs in 3 years, and I don't think you will, send it back and Groove It will get you a free replacement. So prepare to be amazed with the consistency and control the clean grooves will give you. Using your existing golf clubs with the Groove It, you'll get the spin, trajectory, and consistency you're looking for. So head on over to GrooveItBrush.com to get your Groove It brush with free shipping in the US. Again, that's GrooveItBrush.com to get your Groove It brush today. And we're back. Great interview with Jade. Love her perspective on stand-up comedy and being on the stage versus in the crowd. And it's just, I don't think I could be a stand-up comedian because I don't think I could be able to dish it back out to hecklers. I just don't think I can do that.
I think you and I, like if we were both standing up on a stage, we could theoretically talk at each other on a stage, but I don't know if we could like turn to the crowd and then be funny. That's where like my humor kind of departs. You know what I mean? Like we got faces and voices for radio, Mike. You know what I mean?
You calling me ugly? Are you calling me ugly?
We're set out for a certain medium, and we definitely don't have the stage control that Jade does. It's really cool watching her operate and the way she tells her jokes and puts them together. It was neat, kind of her giving us that inside look on how the soup bits get created as well too. Looking forward to seeing her live and hopefully, just more comedy back in her life. Like she said, it's just like, we've been so caught up in our feelings and our emotions. It's going to be good to get back out to shows and laugh again real soon.
Let's also look at how much we're going to love being back in the world of baseball because opening day is coming up on Thursday.
It's a nice treat.
I'm excited.
I'm not.
It's going to be great.
It's not
the Yankees are going to roll.
Nope.
Even with injuries again to the likes of Luke Voigt, who's leading the spring training league in home runs. But he'll be back come May. It's okay.
It's an opening day Thursday.
Yeah.
Just gonna be nice to see fans back in the stands at baseball parks again too. I think this is one sport where like it just became like extra prevalent that there was no one there. When you're watching baseball games that are completely empty, like it's just alarmingly quiet in there. So
Yes.
that's going to be a nice treat to have back just visually from a fan perspective. And yeah, it's that hope springs eternal thing. I've got very limited expectations for the Red Sox season this year, but when you get me around this year in late March, early April, of course, I'm optimistically thinking that my team's got a shot. And so do all you out there. So I don't blame you for it.
Don't worry, Alex. I'm sure the Red Sox can win at least one game.
They can. Yes, you're right. That's a safe assessment as well, too. So looking forward to seeing action back on the diamond this week.
How are you feeling about your college basketball bracket?
I mean, I'm feeling very grateful that I set it up for all my friends to kick my butt.
Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah.
I mean, March Madness has been more mad than we could possibly have imagined, even since last week's recording as well, too. It's gotten even crazier. We've got 3 Pac-12 teams in the Elite Eight as we're talking right now. That is just insane. Completely unpredictable in my opinion, but not according to the people that I've been wagering my money against, because other brackets seem to be just fine in our pool. So.
I mean, our pool, I wouldn't say that anyone's bracket in our pool is fine. I will say that the current leader in our pool, Scott, has his entire Final Four intact.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
I have half of my Final Four intact.
Downright impressive in its own right there. Yeah. But yeah, crazy March Madness. And you mentioned this before we hopped on. I need to quickly rant on something that's bothered me. Yeah. It bothered me at the beginning in the round of 64 when they started on Friday instead of Thursday.
Yeah, there's like, what is that?
That threw my entire week off, Mike. You know how much I value those Thursday and Friday games back to back like that. And then they did us dirty again on weekend 2. They started the Sweet 16. They typically do the Sweet 16 on Thursday and Friday evening, and then they do the Elite 8 Saturday and Sunday. They started the Sweet 16 on Saturday and Sunday, and now Elite 8 games are being played on Monday and Tuesday nights. Just all-time awkward.
What the hell is up with that, guys? Just what the hell?
They were all in Indiana, Mike. Like they don't even have the travel excuse because they're all bubbled in the same spot this time. It just the scheduling seemed very strange. If anyone can peel back the curtain on that, explain to me why the hell they did that. I don't know, but bottom line, it's been a fun March Madness. On the NBA front, real quick note, again, fans back in the stands also for TD Garden games for Celtics fans and a lot of NBA arenas as well, too, this week. So between myself getting back to the match play and hearing these announcements in sports of fans coming back, it's exciting to be back in the mix. And I will just say, we kind of forget what that's like to have those fan interactions. So good news all around on that front.
It was also a disappointing weekend for our alma mater, the Quinnipiac University Bobcats men's hockey team, out in the first game of the NCAA tournament. Yeah,
they blew a lead too. I think the QU, one of the QU fan accounts that we follow on Twitter, blew it. They jinxed it, and they asked for the opponent to start warming up the bus when it was 3-1. That was a bad idea.
Poorly done. We have seen the Bobcats blow leads in big games.
Anytime.
It's heartbreaking.
Another year goes on. But this time we'll hashtag always end with food to wrap things up. Brought to you by our friends at Toasty Bites. Promo code is COL20 for 20% off. The best, healthiest snack for golfers and any athlete out there. Just anyone who needs a little energy on the go.
They taste great. They taste
great. We've had a box ourselves, and they're at golf courses around the world. Promo code COL20. This week, Easter has arrived. That really snuck up on me.
Well, Passover came first. I'm sorry. Right, Passover started on Saturday. Nice.
So tell me about things. How are things on your front? Yeah.
I mean, I'm not skipping leavened bread.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
But we had I made my family's pot roast on Saturday, and we made our flourless chocolate cake to go with it. So that was nice. It was nice. But I'm really looking forward to a Peep flavored soda for Easter.
Yeah, I did. I saw this briefly, and now you always accuse me that sometimes you send me things that end up being fake. They're mostly real. This is a real product, a Peep flavored soda?
I believe so. This is Pepsi is teamed up with Peeps, and they are making a Peep flavored soda. Looks like it's real.
I've already bought a box of Peeps this year and downed them. For some reason, I was in the mood and I saw them at the dollar store, so it worked out. I'm not against Peeps. I don't mind them. I think they take a lot of hate this time of year, and this is like the 1 week a year where they get the most conversation. But overall, I'm a Peep person. It's going to be really hard for me to sell you on a Peep flavored soda, though, because I'm already pretty neutral on Coke and Pepsi as is. I don't know if that's going to work. A lot of sugar.
They're doing it in their little mini cans. Each one's got a different color: yellow, pink, and blue.
That is playful. I'll give them that.
I mean, it looks kind of, looks like a Peep, only it's a Pepsi can. And I don't know how I feel about a marshmallow flavored soda. I mean, is that like a cream soda? I actually kind of like cream soda when I'm in the right mindset.
Okay, so there might be some potential there. We could backdoor sell you into that. If you see it in stores, be sure to take a picture and show us that it is the real deal, and send us a tweet as well too. I'm at Course of Life 1 and you're at MWRINC. My Easter meal is going to be real simple. We don't do the whole ham anymore. We've learned from past years that the whole ham is nice for one meal, and then you realize you can only eat 10% of the whole ham. So we're not getting the spiral ham. We're just getting some nice thick cut deli ham, and we're doing oven baked ham sandwiches just like last year. We crushed it last year. We're going to crush it again this year.
You going to make some fresh bread? I can send you a recipe.
Oh man, I know you're the guy. If anything, we go a little Swiss cheese, do maybe a couple of maybe relishes, little sauces to put on there.
I mean, you're also out there in Texas. You can milk some cows and make some cheese if you really want to go for it.
Just right out to the farm to table, right? The most direct form.
You need Swiss cheese though, so you probably should have started a few months ago. But
a little back behind on that too. That was our hashtag always end with food. We wish everyone out there happy Passover and Easter as well too. And we'll see you again for another great episode of Course of Life.